this one's going to be a little bit rushed, and I'll tell you why in a moment. And sorry for the lighting, I am in the middle of changing things around. I wasn't expecting to be filming a video today, but all of a sudden I ended up with this, so I need to make a video. This is the Makita XGT Earth Auger, model number DG001G. In the States, that'll be the GGD 01, something like that. Haven't got time to look it up. I was just discussing this with a couple of people on YouTube this morning, actually, Mark and Reaper, and I was saying how I'd been trying to get one of these for ages and hadn't managed to grab one, and probably wouldn't be likely to be doing one in the near future, even though I needed one right now. I've needed one for the last few weeks. And then all of a sudden I see Cam's little Instagram reel, and he's going through clay with this thing. One of the reasons I didn't buy it was because I just didn't think it was going to have the guts to go through what I needed it to go through. But then when I saw what he was doing, I thought, hey, maybe this is good enough. And so I sort of jokingly said, I could use that right now. And he said, come and grab it. And so, after him having it for not very long at all, he'd done 2 holes with it, and that's it. I went and grabbed it off him. So, cheers, Cam. Cam from Systematic Homes. I'll put a link down in the description to his Instagram and his YouTube, and well, maybe up there. I'm not sure if I'll be able to put it up there. At the end of the video, I'll stick a link to his channel. So go check him out. Make sure you subscribe and watch his stuff. Now, this is basically a right angle drill with a bunch of other attachments on it. The right angle drill would have this handle here, but for the Earth Auger they've stuck on this whopping great handle out the front here and the one out the side. Now, I thought the one out the side was going to be like most petrol post hole borers, where when it catches something in the ground, the auger stops, the tool spins around and nearly throws you, this hits your leg and cuts the tool out. But it doesn't look like that's what it is, it just looks like a handle. The other thing that you need to turn a right angle drill into a post hole borer is this adapter here. This is the adapter so your augers can go on. Now, like I say, it's basically a 2-speed drill. There's your speed controls there, 1 and 2. 1 being 400 RPM, 2 being 1500 RPM. And this tool, you'll be happy to know, made in Japan. Maybe that's why this one is pretty darn pricey. Had it been a bit cheaper, I would have got one a while ago, but it has also been quite hard to even find one. And now I need to quickly go mark out some holes because I wasn't quite ready for the holes. I mean, I could have dug up my whole backyard with this if it turns out to be any good. Could have saved myself weeks of time and pain. I kind of almost want it to suck, you know, just so that I don't kick myself for not buying one sooner. And anyway, that sort of fan noise you can hear in the background is my 5 amp hour battery charging up, because it was dead flat, and that's the one I want to put on it. But I kind of also want to just jump out there right now and drill a hole with this thing. So with this job here, I've dug all this out by hand, and I don't mean all those post holes out by hand, but I mean all this area here. See that retaining wall? 2 boards down from the top, that's where the ground level was. So the ground level was there and it came down, and I have dug all this out down to the height, as you can see on the wall there. A shit ton of bloody dirt. And as you can see, plenty of clay mixed in there. And it's the clay that I didn't think this thing was going to be able to get through. And I've got the 200mm auger for it off Cam, and he was going through clay with that, which Makita say use the 150 for clay, and I would have been quite happy getting a 150 for these sort of holes. These are 125 posts, so I'd do sort of four holes in a square, and that would basically be roughly the size of the hole, and then just finish it off with a spade. But yeah, maybe I could have just tuned all this up with that thing and just made my life a damn sight easier than ending up with all these massive big chunks of clay that are just sticky and horrible. Anyway, I'll try it up on this area up here because I've still got to dig that out, and I need to put a few post holes down through here for a bearer for this shed, and I also need to put some down here somewhere, but I haven't quite marked them out yet, so I guess I better get onto it. Before I get into it, I'm just going to move this handle here. This is the side handle that I was talking about, which braces against you when you're using the tool, and ideally I think you should be standing so that the auger goes down between your legs, whereas this has got me off to the side a little bit. So I want to move this whole handle this way a bit if I can. As you can see, there is lots of holes on it here, so I'll just adjust that before I start. and that way hopefully I won't come a cropper. Isn't that a mean looking bit of kit, eh? Right, we'll try it out now in the two modes. The first mode I'll call post hole boring mode, and the second mode we'll call death wish mode, I think. So as you can see, you hold it like this. This pushes against your hip, or that sort of region. This bit you sort of nestle underneath your guts, and away you go. I'm not loving that the speed switch is underneath, not that you're going to change it that much, but it might have been a bit easier up here for this particular application of this tool. Not that you're probably going to change it potentially at all, because I don't know if we're going to want to run it in speed 2. Anyway, here it is in speed 1. So that was speed 1, and as you can see, variable speed trigger, and as you can probably hear, helicopter going over. Anyway, the next mode is death wish mode, so we'll flick that onto there. Brace yourself. I think I might take the jandals off for this one. Time for some steel cap boots, methinks. I got a 2 amp hour battery on there with only 2 bars showing on it. If this works, I'll be well impressed. Oi, chicken, you're in my shot. I'm about to dig there. Just filled me boots. Oh, can you hear that lovely sound? That's the sound of a 5 amp hour 40 volt battery ready to go. Oh. We've hit something solid. I think we just jammed on this old bit of pipe in the side here, so I've just dug a little bit this way and I'll put it back in and we'll try again. Well, may have stopped, but that's still pretty impressive because that is some sticky damn clay, man. Now yeah, we're having a bit of a problem there. Bit too much torque required and it's just cutting out. But according to Makita, 150mm auger is what you should be using for clay. This is some pretty sticky, horrible clay, man. This soil here is just absolutely awful. And this is the 200mm auger, and it's done a pretty good job, I reckon. That certainly saves a lot of time. What I just did then would have taken quite a while to dig out, and it's so sticky and it sticks to your spade and it's just a pain, and it comes out in big clumps that are hard to break down. So breaking it down into particles that size is extremely helpful when you want to spread it out somewhere else and shovel it into a wheelbarrow, etc. So yeah, I am happy. And considering I've already dug down about 400mm at that point to get to this, what now looks like the surface level, drilling down through that top stuff, which was mostly topsoil, then that would have made my life much quicker. Well, that's about 400 to the top of all the shit that's still down the hole. By the time I dug that out, I reckon it's probably about 500, which not too bad. You can get an extension for this thing too. Woohoo! God, this clay is awful. This stuff is awful. You can mould it into things though. So sticky. It's the end of summer, we've had hardly any rain and it's still wet down there. Amazing. Might be able to make some pottery. Let's have a go at this one here. I need to get underneath that post, so I'm going to sort of go on a bit of an angle there, try to, and I've got to put another post in front of that one hard up against it, so I need to get some concrete around the back, and that's why I need to go under that existing post. Fantastic. Tell you what I want, a far slower speed on it. Just tries to take off, and the trigger's quite tricky to control. It's not all that sensitive on the variability. You get a lot deeper up here where it's not having to go through so much clay. That's what I wanted, man. I'm loving tunneling with this thing. It's just as good going sideways as it is going down, perhaps better. You can really sort of churn out all the dirt and make a nice good pile that's easy to scoop up. Very cool. So that hole, the holes under there which have since been buried by some of the other holes, look, it's so cool going in on an angle. Like a little tunnel under there, chewed that up there, a few holes there, a couple of holes up there. Has it gone down a bar yet on the battery? Let's take a wee look-see. Oh, let's just push it from under here, eh? Let's have a look. Look at that. Still 4 bars. I would have been happy if that had used a bar, to be honest. Wouldn't have been worried about that at all. If that was a quarter of what it could do on one battery charge, I would have been happy. But if it hasn't even dropped a bar yet, could get quite a lot done with one charge by the looks. Which just makes it even better again. Is this my new favourite 40 volt tool? Certainly loving it today. Gonna have to do some shoveling now and get some of this stuff out of the way before I can go much further. And this all needs to go through here, so I might get stuck into that too. And I need to put in a couple of posts on each side. Gonna be a busy day tomorrow, I think. Day 2 with the auger. I started about 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, so couldn't get too much done. I did about 15 holes, and I have used 2 bars on the battery, which I think's pretty good. The amount of torque that this thing's got to deal with. So anyway, today I need to mark out some more post holes along here. I'll go as long as I can until I'm knackered or injured, back gives way, something like that. So I probably won't video it. I'll just show you the end result when the battery conks out. So a little bit of a tip here: if you've got big stuff like this, it's too big to spread around. You're trying to sort of level out an area, you don't want big chunks of shit in it like that. So if you jam them back down a hole that you've already dug with this thing, then you can fire it back in there again and chew it up into finer stuff. Works pretty well. Right, it's about to rain here, so I thought I'd just wrap this up. Usually do it inside, but seeing as this thing's such a beast, we'll do it out here. And hopefully it doesn't rain while I'm filming this. What didn't I tell you about it before? It's got a power button. It's not just a pull the trigger, so you've got to turn it on, then pull the trigger. But don't worry about that power button turning off. It's not like the chainsaws where it turns off all the time. It stays on for quite a while. You put it down, fluff around, pick it up, away you go again, still goes. So I'm not sure, but it stays on for minutes, not seconds, okay? Now I think this is a fantastic tool. It has been absolutely brilliant for what I'm doing. And it's starting to rain. I better get some stuff out of the weather here. I'm underneath cover here, so it's not too bad. Although this is starting to get wet, I better bring it forward a bit. So that light's still going, hasn't turned off. It's got a torque light on here. I'm guessing that's what it is. I never actually saw it go on. I imagine it was, but you're sort of too busy concentrating on other things when you're using this to worry about whether it's gone into high torque mode or whatever. So yeah, don't really care about that. You can feel it changing though sometimes. It's quite annoying. I'm not a big fan of the trigger control of it. Absolutely love the tool, but I think it needs just a few tweaks because it is essentially just a grunty right angle drill and not an earth auger. They've sort of added on this end to make it the auger. If they made a standalone unit for the auger rather than just using the drill, where they had a slower gearing, so that the low speed was somewhere in the region of like 50 to 100 RPM instead of 400. I reckon 400 is the highest RPM this thing should be, not 1500. And it's starting to get quite heavy with the rain, as you can probably hear. We may have to go inside after all. We've got nothing else out in the rain. So yeah, low speed, maybe 50 to 100, and then a second speed, maybe around 200, and then a top speed of 400, and a slightly more sensitive trigger. This trigger, it's a bit jerky, it's a bit hard to keep it in the sweet spot. And you start off sort of slow, but because this thing rocks around, it's hard to keep your finger exactly at the right pressure. So it can get a bit jerky sometimes, particularly if the substrate that you're going through keeps changing in consistency. But apart from that, I absolutely love it, and I wish I had bought one 6 weeks ago, because it would have saved me so much time, and I'd already would be halfway through building this shed by now. And I wouldn't have such a sore back. It is quite heavy, but if you've ever used post hole borers, it's not as heavy as a standard 2-stroke post hole borer. And to me, it's better than the post hole borers, the single man post hole borers I've used that always seem to glug up with clay and just can't do it. Like this one here, for instance. I've used a still 2-stroke one quite a bit, and you know, it's just crap compared to this, to be honest. Right, is there anything else? Oh, it's forward and reverse, of course, because it is a drill. It is a keyed chuck, not a keyless chuck like everything is these days. It's because it's a bit grunty for that. If you're driving massive big bits with this thing, you're probably not going to be able to get it undone with your hand. It's going to get pretty darn tight. And as for battery life, fantastic. I can't believe just how good the battery life on this thing is. You'll get 30 holes as deep as this auger. So 600mm holes, you'll get 30 of them out of a 5 amp hour battery through clay, 200mm diameter. That's way better than I thought you'd ever get out of it. I'm super stoked. That would, you know, that's plenty for me, that's for sure. Not going to be going through a dozen batteries with this thing in a day or anything. Did I show you it on the highest speed drilling a hole? I know I talked about it. Did I actually end up doing it? Oh, I might do that again just in case, eh? Brace yourself. See, it's a bit full on. It's just hasn't got enough torque for that top speed. It's just crazy fast and fires dirt absolutely everywhere. That's fired stuff a good 4 or 5 meters away from where I'm standing. Stick her on speed 1, however, and we can just gently drill ourselves a hole. Not bad. I'd also love to see that auger and a standard drill, like the, you know, the 40-volt hammer drill. Wonder how it would do in that. Drills are getting pretty good these days, aren't they? That's amazing. So that's the HP 001G. Did pretty darn well, I reckon. If it wasn't clay, and if that was a 150 instead of a 200, you could probably get away with it. Thanks for watching, guys. Look, the light is still on. Stays on for yonks. So yeah, don't worry about that. That is the Makita Earth Auger 40 volt. The DG001G. Beast! If you want one, take a look down in the description. I'll put a link to Handy Hardware. I'll put a link to the States and the UK land if I can find one. Once again, thanks for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, Patreon link also down below. You'll get to see other videos like this before everybody else, and only cost you a few bucks. You'll also get other videos and chances to win stuff. So yeah, head on over to that if that interests you, if you want to give me a hand and you want to see more videos. And until next time, keep on digging. That's what I'm going to be doing. Hopefully this rain eases off again. Okay, cheers guys. See you later. Korea's here. Still going. Oh, there we go. I'm guessing that was about 5 minutes.